Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Little King story playthrough. So, it's the morning of day 7, and obviously we lost quite a few poor soldiers during that fight with Yvonne. But thankfully, they have washed ashore on the beach. So we are going to go and pick them up right now. So this is obviously what I said when we first got here to the beach. Whenever your citizens die in battle, the next morning they will awake on here. Although, that said, I believe there's a certain number of times that this can happen to them before they will perish for good. So it is possible to lose citizens forever. And it'll be too late to save them. But at least for now, we should be absolutely fine. So, what wonderful job do we have today? Well, basically it's just a day of trying to get as much money as possible. Because we don't really want to explore to the south just yet. Because, I mean, really, we want those archers, we want the hunters. And without them, there's not a lot we can do. So, we are going to go around all of the areas that we can at present, and we are going to make as much dough as possible to build the hunter hut, and a variety of other things if we can. Also, I'm just making sure that I've got a reasonably rounded team, so that when we take things on, we can just obliterate everything and achieve anything that is actually necessary for us to do. So, Hayley, you're coming with us. And, okay, we are actually heading down to these Omni lands. There isn't a whole lot that we can do at present here. We can get so far, but then after a point there's just not much reason to continue without having the hunters. But these Onis are absolutely adorable. Obviously they are based on Japanese Onis, which are kind of yokai from Japanese folklore, various translated as demons, devils, ogres, or trolls. And obviously they're very, very popular. I'm pretty sure I've spoken at length about Oni when I did Okami. Because obviously that game just loves its Japanese mythology and it's very important. But, I mean, generally, they are gigantic ogre-like creatures with sharp claws, wild hair, and 2 long horns growing from their heads. Mostly humanoid, but shown with unnatural features, such as an odd number of eyes or extra fingers and toes. Skin of many different colours, but red and blue are particularly common. Now, for some reason, the Onis here are black, and the little ones just have one spiky horn coming from their head. But they are actually pretty adorable. And this is maybe a little bit of over-extrapolation, but Oni are prominently featured in the Japanese children's story of Momotaro, Peach Boy, which I also spoke about when I did Okami, because obviously that is the story of the small hero who goes to Oni Island and defeats the demons, because that is what he needs to do. Obviously he gets his band together and it's all awesome. So it being referenced in Little King's story is not out of the question, because obviously this is a little child hero who is getting together a band, well, a team, to take on the demons. And they are on the other side of a river, so you could say that it's sort of an island, so it makes sense. And I mean, there's not really much else I could probably say about Oni that I haven't already. But yeah, it's quite cool because obviously you've got this European medieval fantasy world, which, well, with a castle, 'cause it's very European castle. Very typical fantasy, really. And yet, you've got the very Japanese Oni. And the game walks a rather curious line between its influences. So, obviously, you've got the French influence of Le Petit Prince. You've got the Japanese influence, obviously because it was developed in Japan, and you've got the Oni. There's a few other things as well which will turn up. There is inspiration from Don Quixote, which is obviously a very famous classic text. Very, very, very famous. It's something that I will go into later on in the playthrough, I think, when I've got another bit of downtime where we're just trying to get up money. But you've got lots and lots of references to inspirations. And that's just really cool. So, Little King's Story is certainly a game that wears its influences on its sleeve. And I am very appreciative of that. Now, we can't do anything about that Oni there, because he's just standing there and there is literally nothing we can do. We can now have a deal with these fellas, and that's good, but we can't deal with him up there, so... Oh, actually no, if we build this, we can, but I don't think we will be able to build this because he is going to walk over. And, oh, okay, I'm quite happy for you to walk off. I thought you were going to chuck something, mate. If you decided to start throwing things, I wouldn't have been able to get up here. But, seeing as you decided to walk off, you're just dead. So, we've actually been able to make quite a bit more progress over here than I thought we were going to. That said, we will certainly not be progressing any further into this area. And the reason being is that there is a rather big UMA waiting for us in this arena. So I would rather not get caught in that without the hunters, because they are pretty necessary for the fight. So that's all we can really do on this side of the river for now, until we have all that money. But not to worry, all be fine. We've got plenty of areas that we can explore. And obviously one of the nice things is that when you return to areas that you have technically already visited, but it's classified as a different area, the enemies will respawn. And sometimes even the holes that you've dug up will respawn. So, you can constantly pick up, or there is constantly a way of getting more money. Which is certainly very much appreciated. And obviously now that we have grassland, we can explore all of this area. Which, grassland is quite big. It'll all seem small once the kingdom gets even bigger. And trust me, it's going to get bloomin' huge. Like, if I have anything to say about it, this place is going to be absolutely stunning in its enormity. But we have this wonderful little mushroom forest here, which we are going to go through because it's going to give us loads more stuff. And seeing as we need, I think it was over 400,000 bol to get the Hunter Hut, and then we need, I think it's 50,000 bol to train the hunters. So, we are probably going to have to explore a bit more of that. Now, what I was looking for here is that apparently at night, obviously it's not quite night now, but a hole appears in the soup church. I don't know whether it's actually in the soup church or whether it is near the soup church, but it unlocks a treasure which you can use to where you can give them to your soldiers, and in some instances it can give you new powers, or at least it can help with things, so it can prevent you from getting poisoned, it can give your soldiers more health, etc, etc, etc. Some of them are just for looks. I believe the one that is hidden somewhere around here is primarily just for looks, but I desperately wanted to find it, and I could not. At some point in the future, as of when I'm recording the commentary for this, because obviously I'm still recording the footage for the game, I will have to try and find that treasure, because part of me desperately wants to try and 100% Little King's story for you all. Show everything the game has to offer. Because I, for one, certainly think it's worth it. Apart from maybe one quest, but we'll get to that when we get to that. And why the hell not just have that little bit of extra fun? But anyway, that was just about enough to... oh, well, we want that, and... oh, god damn it, that's just put us short of the bloomin' Hunter Hut again. I did not make a smart move there. Oh well, I think if we pop to bed, end the night, start again the next morning, we should be good to go. Also, I'm not quite sure what Liam is doing. He's just like, yes, this is our bed. Yes, we'll all be healed after a good night's sleep. I don't know why you felt the need to tell us this now, considering, you know, we have been waking up from it regularly for numerous days now. So... you're not the most useful, Minister Liam. I mean, to be fair, I hardly use Liam at all. Largely because, you know, I have the assistance of a guide to just ease me through the main things that I need to be doing and reminding me of the strategies to deal with bosses and enemies as necessary. But Liam just doesn't have any useful information for me. Now, one thing that you can do is, if you have your royal guard, if you send everybody into the church, then, if two of your citizens are in love, they will get married and they will have a baby! And you will also get Cupid's bow. Which is great, because that weapon it's a godsend, because once you give it to a hunter, they will have a chance of momentarily paralysing your foes, which obviously in battle does absolute wonders. And I have yet to realise that I only have 6 members of my Royal Guard with me at present. Obviously, 2 of our soldiers got married, and they decided to take the day off. Which obviously I am not okay with. I'm sorry. You should listen to your king, you should fight! And make me more money so that I can dominate the world. Also, I honestly have no idea what I am doing at present, because I know that I'm going to have to go into the forest, and I know that that's where I'm going to be getting at least a little bit of money. But I suppose I probably thought, well, if we head back here, then there's enemies that I can take down, and for the most part those enemies will give you stuff, and I was just incredibly indecisive. Incredibly indecisive during this start to the day. I think because it was just like, I don't really know exactly what I want to do. I know I want the money, but I don't know where I want to go to get that money. So, yeah. But anyway, those careless children which are born do have a use. Obviously, it increases your villager count, which will be tantamount to recuperating any losses of, like, permanent death. But also, they can actually climb trees. This is something that I have, at the present moment in time of the footage recording anyway, I'd forgotten. So, there is something that will occur in a few parts' time, which requires the use of a child, and I didn't realise. But in the near future, when I get back to recording footage, after I've completed a certain task or so, I am going to make sure that I run around and make the most of the children I've got. I think I might only have 1 still, because I honestly cannot be doing with sending in all of my citizens into the church to try and get them to get married, because then that means that I've got to constantly return to the podium to pick up all of my citizens to make sure I have everybody I need to, and ain't nobody got time for that. So, there's mention of Sunflower Plains. We can't do anything with it just yet because this thing is in the way. Hopefully we will get to deal with that eventually, but right now it's just not happening. And also, you can see the UMA waiting for us over there. And seeing as we're here, I might as well get this spring open. Because why not? It's quite a big spring as well. I think it's because you've got the boss there, so they want you to just be careful and have the ability to heal should it go south for you. Honestly, if you are prepared for it, it shouldn't go south, but at present we are most definitely not prepared for it. So, yeah, as you can see, there's not really a whole lot else I can do. I could either go to the little turnip forest to the right, or I can return to the mushroom forest, because there's quite a bit in the mushroom forest to attack. So that's where I'm going to go now. There will eventually be a Guardian UMA in here, and he will be arguably the most challenging of the Guardian UMAs up to this point. Like, Cowbones is pretty easy. Yvonne is a challenge, but otherwise relatively alright. The next one, really not pleasant. But we'll get to that one when we get to it. At present, we just need to be picking up as much fungus as possible. So yes, this is a little bit of a downtime day. Not exactly the most exciting, but certainly something that I would qualify as being important. Because we need the ball, we just need everything to go well, really. Now, at least for the present moment, in terms of my editing, I haven't actually cut anything out of Little King's story, even these slower days. If only because they are an important part of the gameplay experience. They aren't necessarily... It's not like a standard RPG where you are just going into constant random battles. And really the only things that you want out of them are level ups or whatever. These are battles which change every time you go about them. Because it's very difficult to deal with them in exactly the same way. And also, we are generally exploring new areas, meeting new enemies, finding new things to do, and generally always making some type of progress. It's not necessarily always going to be entirely obvious where that progress is being made, because in quite a lot of it will just be raising money, which will then be used to build something, which we will then use to progress further in the game. But it's still important. However, that said, if I do end up at a point where all I'm needing to do is just grind ball, and I'm not visiting anywhere new, then I may just do a speed up, but that is a decision for another day. Right now, we are just raiding this place for all it is worth. Also, I'm not liking the look of that purple mushroom. It's not going to attack us, don't worry. It's not going to do anything right now. It's just going to sit there and be ominous. But I certainly do not like the looks of it. You can probably guess why. Because if you've been paying attention to the way the game lays everything out, whenever you see those traffic cones, which are obviously a rather odd thing in this medieval fantasy kingdom to see, but I'll take it. You'll probably realise that those generally only appear when there is a Guardian UMA about. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are there at the present moment in time, and obviously at present they are not here, because as soon as you enter an arena with a Guardian UMA, you are immediately flung into the battle. It's impossible to go any other way about it. But it is nice that they do signpost the areas in such a fashion. So it means that you've got a visual cue of where you need to be going should you want to do this sort of stuff. Also, I am taking this hole for everything it's worth. And, ooh, perfect, a nice bag of coins. Also, these walking mushrooms are just terrifying. I mean, just look at the flippin' long noses and, oh, they're creepy. There's still a little bit of a sense of them being adorable, because there's nothing in this game which is actively terrifying. It's just that some things are a little bit weirder than others, shall we say. But like, I mean, the general aesthetic for Little King's story is cute, which is obviously incredibly deceptive because the game deals with, as I have said on many an occasion, surprisingly dark subject matter. But it's all fine anyway. I think once we have dealt with these particular mushrooms, we should definitely have enough to get that hunter hut. And we should definitely have enough to get enough hunters. And at that point, we should be able to go and take on that UMA that was waiting for us in the Oni lands. And that'll be a pretty exciting day because, I mean, come on. Who doesn't want to take down bosses? He's not going to be a particularly threatening boss because he's not a big major boss, but he's still something that we definitely need to take down. And yeah, I think that will pretty much do us for today. Let's make our way back to the castle and see what we have found. And annoyingly, I still can't see that hole that I am meant to be seeing. So, yeah, sod it. I think right now we should probably just head back to the castle and stop faffing about, you know? That treasure can wait a very long time for another day, because at the end of the day, it doesn't actually affect anything, it's just for looks. So it's not important in the slightest. But anyway, here we go. We got Cupid's bow from way early on in the day. And then we have made a lot of money. And that really is a lot of money for this point in the game. So we now have enough to get the Hunter Hut. And then we definitely want to make sure to cling on to some of our national budget, because I'm going to need it to train my hunters. Otherwise I will be crying very seriously. That should be enough for the time being, so I think we should probably just head to bed and see what awaits us in the morning. See you then!